If your woman does these, leave her. The red flags are clearer than ever, but you need to see the last one. It's the most important and will completely change how you look at your relationship. Stick around to the very end, because that last piece of info is the game changer. Hit follow now and don't miss out. Constant criticism. Emotional abuse erodes worth. If every conversation, every interaction, every moment where you share your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, or simply exist in her presence feels less like genuine, caring communication and overwhelmingly more like a relentless, persistent, deeply painful personal attack aimed directly at your core being, your character, your identity, your inherent abilities, your worth as a human being, you must recognize that this is not a normal or healthy part of a loving relationship. It is fundamentally a form of emotional abuse that actively and consistently erodes your self-esteem, diminishes your presence in the world, and leaves you feeling like nothing, absolutely nothing you are or nothing you do is ever good enough, ever right, ever sufficient. Constant criticism, particularly when it is pervasive, non-specific. You're just lazy, you never try, you always mess up, that's just who you are, and it's bad. And aimed directly at your character rather than specific solvable behaviors. I felt frustrated when this specific task wasn't completed on time, is not normal relationship feedback intended for mutual growth. It's a corrosive, destructive force, a toxic pattern that systematically damages trust, intimacy, and most importantly, your sense of self-worth within the dynamic. A relationship, a true partnership, should lift you up, empower you to be your best self, believe in your potential, support your efforts. It should not relentlessly, constantly, systematically tear you down, highlight your perceived flaws to diminish you, and leave you feeling inadequate and broken. If you find yourself in a consistent pattern where she's always pointing out your flaws, you always do that wrong, you can't handle simple things, you're not good enough at this, look at your mistakes, relentlessly highlighting your perceived inadequacies, expressing pervasive disappointment in who you are as a person, undermining or belittling your achievements, your successes, your positive efforts, or your contributions, especially in a way that leaves you feeling smaller, lesser, or shamed. Oh, you finally did that? Took you long enough, didn't it? That's nice, but remember when you failed at X so spectacularly? Anyone could have done that. It's not a big deal. You must recognize that this is not healthy love or constructive interaction. This relentless negativity and devaluing is a powerful form of emotional abuse. Respect, genuine appreciation for who you are at your core, acknowledgement of your positive qualities, validation of your efforts, and unwavering support for your growth and well-being are the fundamental pillars, the essential building blocks that truly build healthy, lasting, fulfilling relationships where both people feel secure and valued. If she consistently can't or won't, despite your authentic qualities and sincere efforts, genuinely see, acknowledge, appreciate, and value your worth as a person, and instead consistently finds endless reasons to criticize you fundamentally as a person, rather than addressing specific behaviors or issues in a respectful, constructive, and solutions-oriented way, that's not just a problem to work through with patience. That's a major, undeniable red flag indicating a deeply unhealthy, emotionally damaging, and often abusive dynamic that is actively harming your well-being. This pattern relentlessly drains your vital mental and emotional energy, creates pervasive self-doubt, makes you question everything you are and do, and ultimately, over time, will severely erode and potentially destroy your self-esteem and fundamental sense of self-worth, leaving you feeling defeated and inadequate in all areas of your life. A healthy relationship should contribute to your confidence and flourishing, not consistently diminish you and make you feel like nothing you are or do is ever good enough for the person who claims to love you. Gaslighting twists reality. The second undeniable red flag, a sign pointing directly towards profoundly harmful psychological dynamics and a severe distortion of reality within the relationship. Manipulation, specifically through tactics like gaslighting. Manipulation is inherently sneaky. It's a form of emotional and psychological abuse that operates indirectly, subtly twisting perceptions and emotions to gain power or control over another person. It's when she employs deceptive psychological tactics to influence, control, or coerce your feelings, your thoughts, your perceptions, your beliefs, your decisions, or your behavior, often doing so behind the scenes of apparent direct communication. If you consistently find yourself apologizing, maybe even for things you know deep down, logically, factually, in your gut are not your fault, or not something you genuinely did wrong, or not solely your responsibility in a complex situation, or if you find yourself saying sorry simply to end conflict, keep the peace, or alleviate the intense pressure and guilt she's putting on you, that's a significant sign of manipulation at its finest, using guilt and misplaced responsibility to control your behavior and make you compliant or apologetic even when you haven't genuinely erred. Manipulation is not upfront. It operates through psychological tactics like guilt trips, shifting blame, subtle coercion, and twisting words to wear you down emotionally, slowly, perhaps so gradually you don't fully realize the extent of the control being exerted or the harm being done. It's a silent, often invisible way of exerting unhealthy control over the dynamic and your responses, making you responsible for her feelings or for problems she contributes to, without her having to take direct ownership. If you find yourself constantly doubting your own memory, questioning your own reality, wondering if what you saw, heard, or experienced was real, or if your emotional responses are valid, it's often because she's actively, through consistent manipulative tactics, making you feel and believe that you are the one with the problem, that you are mistaken, that you are the cause of the negative dynamics. Gaslighting is a particularly insidious form of manipulation that takes this twisting of truth further into dangerous psychological territory, actively and relentlessly attempting to make you doubt your own memory, your own valid perception of events and situations, your own valid emotional responses and reactions, and ultimately, tragically, your own fundamental sanity, judgment, and grip on objective and subjective reality, all specifically and systematically to gain and maintain power and control within the dynamic, to avoid taking any accountability for her own harmful actions, to escape consequences for her behavior, and to make the other person insecure, confused, and dependent on her version of reality and truth. It's when she actively and persistently convinces you through outright denial of verifiable reality, that never happened. I never said that. You're just making it up for attention. Why would I ever say do that? Flat contradiction of events you clearly remember and maybe even have evidence for. No, that's not how it went down at all. You're remembering it completely wrong. Your memory is terrible. You always twist things around. Minimizing your valid feelings and experiences. You're just overreacting. It wasn't that bad. Why are you so sensitive about this trivial thing? Stop being dramatic. Dismissing your legitimate concerns or experiences as unfounded or exaggerated. That's just in your head. You imagine problems that don't exist. You create drama where there isn't any. Or the persistent assertion of a false or alternative narrative about a situation or event that directly and undeniably contradicts your lived experience, your clear memory, or readily available undeniable facts, convincing you, attempting to convince you, through repetition and force of her will, that what you're seeing with your own eyes, what you're hearing with your own ears, what you're feeling in your own heart and body, what you're remembering, or what you're thinking with your own mind and senses is wrong, inaccurate, distorted, invalid, not real, or simply didn't happen the way you experienced or remember it, no matter how obvious, undeniable, verifiable, perhaps by others present or documentation, or certain the situation, your feelings, the conversation, or the truth may seem to you. When you're consistently being manipulated or gaslighted in this way over time, the cumulative psychological effect is devastating. You start to compulsively, agonizingly, constantly second-guess yourself in every interaction, not just with her, but potentially in other areas of your life too, as your fundamental trust in your own mind and senses is actively, relentlessly undermined. You begin to lose fundamental trust, that crucial foundation of sanity, self-efficacy, confidence, and safety in your own judgment, your own memory, your own valid perceptions of reality, and your own authentic emotional responses as you are repeatedly and relentlessly told they are wrong, distorted, invalid, or outright fabricated by someone you care about and want to trust. You might even tragically begin to believe, internalize, and accept the false, damaging narrative she is projecting, that you genuinely are the problem, that something is fundamentally wrong with you, with your mind, your emotions, your reactions, your grasp on reality, that you are crazy or too sensitive, when in painful, objective reality, She is the one actively, consistently, and often consciously undermining your reality and destroying your sense of self-trust and your connection to truth from the inside out. No relationship built on honesty, trust, and mutual respect for each other's reality can survive, let alone be healthy, when one person is consistently manipulating and distorting the other's perception and fundamental sense of truth. If this is happening to you consistently, prioritize your psychological safety, your mental well-being, and your connection to reality. Stop tolerating this devastating pattern. You deserve honesty, authenticity, and a shared reality based on truth, not debilitating mind games designed to undermine your sanity and sense of self. If this is your consistent experience, leave before it completely destroys your fundamental sense of self and your ability to trust your own mind. The third undeniable, deeply foundational, absolutely non-negotiable, and arguably most telling sign of a critically unhealthy and unsustainable relationship dynamic is this: a pervasive and consistent lack of fundamental respect for you as a person. Respect is not an optional add-on in a healthy relationship. It is the absolute cornerstone, the bedrock, the essential, non-negotiable foundation upon which any genuine connection, lasting bond, true partnership, or healthy interaction must be built. Without it, no relationship can possibly stand the test of time or face challenges in a healthy, meaningful way. Must be built and continuously maintained by both individuals involved. Without fundamental, genuine, consistent, and mutual respect for each other as individuals with inherent worth, with rights to safety, dignity, and well-being, with valid feelings, unique needs, limits, opinions, and boundaries, there's simply no real trust possible. There's no stable, reliable foundation to build shared life or navigate conflict constructively upon. And there is no psychological or emotional safety to truly be your authentic self, to be vulnerable, to express your needs, to make mistakes, or to feel securely loved, accepted, and valued for who you are. You shouldn't ever have to beg, plead, prove your worthiness for, or earn basic respect through extraordinary efforts or enduring mistreatment. It is a fundamental given in a healthy dynamic. If she consistently and fundamentally disrespects you, your feelings don't matter, they're not valid, you shouldn't feel that way. That's ridiculous, stupid, silly. Stop being so emotional, sensitive, dramatic. Your time, my time, is more important than yours. Showing up perpetually late, without genuine reason or apology, canceling plans last minute as a habit, disregarding your schedule or commitments. Your boundaries, linking back powerfully to handling hurt and setting boundaries. A chronic lack of respect consistently leads to the violation and disregard of your stated or even unstated healthy boundaries. Your opinions. Your opinion is stupid, wrong, uninformed, I know better. You don't know what you're talking about, just be quiet. Your personal space, your physical well-being, your limits, that's not a real need. You're just being needy, demanding, high maintenance. You ask for too much. Why can't you handle things yourself? Your fundamental needs, your contributions. That wasn't helpful. Anyone else could have done better, dismissing your efforts as insignificant. Your privacy. I have a right to check your phone or emails, messages. If you were loyal, you'd let me. Your words, you don't know what you're talking about, interrupting you constantly. Your values, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, your fundamental worth as a person. I could do so much better than you. Why am I even with you? You're lucky to have me. Nobody else would put up with you. You're inadequate. Then, frankly, she does not truly, genuinely, consistently care about you as a person, deserving of basic human dignity, consideration, and valuing within a relationship dynamic. Or she is profoundly, tragically, consistently incapable of demonstrating that valuing and respect in a consistent, healthy, and appropriate way. And when someone doesn't genuinely care about you or respect you as a person at their core, or is consistently incapable of showing it, they will eventually, inevitably, and often relentlessly take you for granted, disregard your feelings and needs as unimportant, violate your boundaries, and consistently prioritize their own needs, desires, convenience, comfort, or power above yours, often to your significant detriment, causing you ongoing pain, eroding the relationship, and diminishing you in the process of every interaction, building deep resentment. Belittle, ignore respect in a healthy relationship is actively and consistently demonstrated in the valuing and honoring of the other person's being, their individuality, their boundaries, their autonomy, their feelings, their thoughts, and their inherent worth. In an unhealthy dynamic characterized by a chronic lack of respect, the opposite occurs consistently. Devaluing, disregarding, belittling, interrupting, and violating boundaries and autonomy are the default modes of interaction. Respect goes far beyond just failing to treat someone with basic surface-level politeness or using good manners when others are around. Even consistent basic politeness towards everyone can be a powerful reflection of a deeper issue with fundamental respect for others as human beings, linking back to signs of a good person and how to earn respect. Genuine, healthy, and mutual respect in a partnership is about genuinely valuing each other's individuality, unique perspectives, thoughts, and differences in opinion, approach, or way of being. Seeing difference as something to be understood or even appreciated, not criticized or belittled as inherently wrong. It's about acknowledging each other's inherent worth and fundamental right to exist, thrive, and express themselves authentically without fear. It's about actively listening attentively and sincerely to each other's perspectives, thoughts, feelings, and needs, making dedicated space for their voice and ensuring they feel truly heard and seen, linking back powerfully to the fundamental human need for being seen and heard. It's about genuinely considering each other's needs, desires, opinions, and feelings in shared decisions, compromises, and planning for the future, ensuring a healthy balance and mutual input. It's about showing authentic appreciation, sincere valuing, and heartfelt honor for who the other person uniquely is, for their character, for their efforts, for their contributions, and for what they uniquely bring to the relationship, the shared life, and the table of conversation and experience. If she consistently, through her actions, communication, and choices, dismisses your feelings as unimportant, trivial, overblown, irrational, or invalid, ignores your stated needs or requests, mocks your beliefs, values, or passions, talks down to you, trivializes things important to you, or consistently acts in ways that treat your time, energy, or efforts as less valuable or important than hers. That's a clear, undeniable, painful, and persistent pattern of profound disrespect for you as a person and as an equal partner. Every person in a healthy relationship dynamic has their limits, their boundaries. If she repeatedly, consistently, and with conscious or unconscious disregard crosses those boundaries that you have clearly communicated or implicitly hoped for, whether it's constantly interrupting you when you speak as if your words don't carry weight, making hurtful, shaming jokes at your expense, disregarding agreements, violating your privacy, dismissing your clear no when you try to set a limit, or simply not listening, it shows a consistent, painful, and damaging disregard for you as an individual deserving of consideration, dignity, and respect. A relationship that is consistently, chronically, and foundationally lacking in fundamental, genuine, mutual respect is not a healthy dynamic. It is a damaging, unsustainable, and often debilitating one for your sense of self and well-being. And it is not, fundamentally, a relationship worth your precious time, energy, emotional investment, or your heart in the long run. You deserve, inherently, unequivocally, someone who genuinely respects you. And jealousy. The fourth undeniable red flag pointing towards a painful, isolating, and potentially abusive suffocation of your individuality. Excessive, suffocating jealousy that manifests as controlling, restrictive, or suspicious behaviors. A genuinely healthy, thriving, functioning relationship is built on a solid foundation of mutual trust and respects both partners' individuality and freedom to have lives outside the partnership. You should feel safe and free to live your life. Pursue your passions and be yourself without constantly fearing irrational jealousy or attempts to control you. If she's consistently questioning your whereabouts, who you're with, what you're doing, monitoring your communications, invading your privacy, or demanding check-ins, it's not healthy caring. It's a sign of her deep insecurity and an unhealthy need for control and possession. Limit. Freedom. Jealousy is a complex emotion, and a small amount of situational jealousy can be a normal human feeling to navigate. But if it crosses the line into demanding, restrictive, or controlling behavior, it becomes toxic and suffocating. If she consistently tries to limit your social interactions, dictates who you can be friends with or spend time with, makes you feel guilty for having interests separate from her, or actively works to isolate you from your support system, it's no longer love. It's unhealthy control. This behavior clearly demonstrates a profound lack of trust in you and a disregard for your autonomy and right to live your own life alongside the shared one. A healthy partnership empowers both to thrive individually. If she's trying to stifle your freedom and control your every move, that's a clear sign to leave. Your personal freedom and connections are essential for your well-being, and a dynamic that consistently attempts to remove them is damaging. Lack of effort. The fifth undeniable red flag, pointing towards a fundamental imbalance and lack of genuine investment. A pervasive and sustained lack of consistent effort in the relationship from her end. Every healthy relationship requires consistent mutual effort from both partners to nurture the bond, maintain connection, navigate challenges, and keep things thriving. Relationships are a two-way street. Both need to actively contribute time, energy, intentionality, and care. One-sided drain. If you consistently find, over a period of time, that you are the only one initiating meaningful conversation, making plans, putting in the emotional or practical work to maintain the connection, while she is passive, checked out, or simply isn't showing noticeable, visible, or consistent effort or investment anymore, despite your attempts, it's a clear, significant, often painful, and undeniable sign of a fundamental imbalance, or that her genuine interest or priority in the relationship has significantly dwindled. A chronically one-sided relationship is emotionally exhausting, draining your energy and leaving you feeling profoundly lonely, unappreciated, and resentful within the very connection that should nourish you. A healthy partnership feels like a team where both are invested. If she's consistently stopped trying, stopped visibly investing in nurturing the relationship with you, you're left carrying the entire weight alone, and that is not something you should settle for. Effort must be mutual for a partnership to survive and thrive in a healthy way. For every single issue, conflict, or problem, and consistently refuses, avoids, deflects, or is genuinely unwilling or unable to take genuine, heartfelt responsibility for her own actions, her own words, her own choices, her own contributions to problems, or the real-world impact of her behaviors, regardless of how clear her role might be. This is not just a personality quirk or occasional defensiveness. This is a serious, fundamental problem that actively breaks the essential cycle of repair, trust building after hurt, growth, and problem solving in any relationship. Accountability is absolutely crucial for navigating disagreements, resolving conflicts, rebuilding trust after setbacks, and fostering growth. A relationship cannot function or grow when one partner consistently refuses or is unable to take responsibility for their behavior and its impact. If she constantly deflects, makes excuses, linking back to bad habits, avoids genuine apologies, or denies her part in problems, you will never move forward or find genuine resolution. This chronic lack of accountability breeds unaddressed resentment, deep frustration, leaves you feeling blamed for everything, and fundamentally prevents any chance of genuine repair or mutual progress. You deserve a partner who owns up to their actions, not someone who perpetually shifts blame, denies reality, tying back to gaslighting, and refuses to contribute to resolution, leaving you to carry the impossible burden alone. The bottom line: these are the significant, undeniable warning signs, the crucial, consistent, and damaging behavioral patterns that, when persistently present in your relationship dynamic over a sustained period, should compel you, for the sake of your own well-being, for your peace of mind, for your mental and emotional health and safety, for your future capacity for happiness and healthy connection, to pause, to take a hard, honest, courageous look at the reality of the dynamic without the fog of past love, the intensity of present hope, or debilitating fear, to take a necessary, intentional, mental, and emotional step back and honestly evaluate the health, the sustainability, and the ultimate value and profound negative impact of the relationship dynamic on your own life, on yourself, on your well-being. Seeing these patterns consistently present is not about arbitrarily placing blame. It is about gaining necessary, vital clarity. These patterns point to a relationship dynamic that is fundamentally unhealthy, deeply toxic, actively damaging, or even potentially emotionally or psychologically abusive. And you deserve more, infinitely more, better and healthier than being in a partnership with someone who consistently engages in these damaging patterns. You deserve a relationship where both people genuinely and consistently demonstrate mutual respect, mutual accountability, mutual effort, mutual care, mutual empathy, and mutual psychological and emotional safety, and where you consistently feel seen, valued, and genuinely loved for who you are at your core, and where you feel empowered to grow alongside your partner in a supportive environment. If, after this honest and courageous reflection, you recognize that your woman is consistently and persistently demonstrating any of these patterns over a sustained period, especially if these patterns are entrenched, unacknowledged by her as problematic, met with defensiveness and refusal to change, or have escalated despite your attempts to communicate their impact and your needs for a healthier dynamic, then tough but absolutely necessary wisdom, rooted in compassion for yourself, dictates: for your own sake, for your own future health and happiness, leave her. This is not harsh, unnecessary judgment of another human being. It is clear-eyed recognition of a damaging, unsustainable, and harmful dynamic and essential self-preservation and self-respect. Do not minimize the cumulative impact of these behaviors on your self-esteem, your mental health, your peace of mind. Do not rationalize them away with past history or fleeting good moments. Do not wait for things to magically get better or hope she will suddenly change if you just endure enough pain. Often, without a fundamental internal shift in their willingness and capacity to recognize and address these deeply ingrained patterns themselves, which these consistent signs often suggest is lacking, these dynamics unfortunately only deepen and become more entrenched, more painful, and more damaging over time. Know your worth. Understand deep down on a foundational level that you deserve to be treated with respect, dignity, kindness, safety, and genuine partnership in a relationship that nurtures you, that these are not luxuries, but fundamental needs. And do not, under any circumstances, continue to let someone consistently treat you less than you deserve, diminish your light, or erode your sense of self simply because you are currently in a relationship with them, or out of fear of being alone, or out of a fear of changing your life. Choose your health, choose your peace, choose you. A healthy, loving relationship should fundamentally lift you up, support your growth, contribute positively and mutually to your well-being, your peace, and your sense of self. It should empower you. It should not, fundamentally and consistently, bring you down, chip away relentlessly at your self-worth, make you question your own reality or sanity, leave you feeling consistently depleted, trapped, blamed for everything, unheard, unseen, unappreciated, disrespected, walking on eggshells, or afraid to be your authentic self. Protect your peace, protect your happiness, protect your mental, emotional, and even physical health. Protect your fundamental sense of self-worth. Protect your future capacity for forming and experiencing genuinely healthy, loving, and fulfilling relationships by not allowing these patterns to continue shaping you negatively. And never, ever settle, ever rationalize away the harm, ever normalize the unacceptable for anything less than the genuine love, mutual respect, and true partnership you truly deserve and are fundamentally worthy of as a human being. Remember, your happiness is important. Your peace of mind is important. Your emotional and mental health and well-being are not secondary or negotiable. They are paramount. Your psychological safety and your physical safety, if applicable, is non-negotiable and paramount. Do not let someone consistently disregard these vital aspects of your being, violate your boundaries repeatedly, or take them away from you, little by little, through consistent, damaging, unhealthy behavior patterns. You are worthy of a love, a connection, a partnership that nurtures you, that supports you in becoming your best self, that sees and values you for the unique, authentic person you are with all your strengths and your vulnerable moments, and that contributes positively and mutually to your life. Do not waste another precious moment of your time, your precious energy, and your precious heart on someone who, through their consistent actions and patterns, demonstrates that they do not genuinely value you as a person. Do not value the relationship's health in a way that promotes mutual well-being, or do not possess the capacity or willingness to engage in the fundamental principles of a healthy mutual partnership based on respect, safety, and accountability, leaving you to do all the work and bear all the cost and the pain. Find someone who will, someone who is capable and willing to offer healthy, mutual connection and partnership, or find peace, strength, and build a life of well-being for yourself first that fundamentally values you. Most good info understanding this, that these 6 specific, consistent, damaging behavioral patterns, constant corrosive criticism, manipulation and gaslighting, a pervasive lack of respect, suffocating jealousy and controlling behaviors, a sustained lack of effort, and a chronic lack of accountability, are significant, undeniable, clear red flag indicators that a relationship dynamic is fundamentally unhealthy, toxic, unsustainable, and actively damaging to your well-being, and signals strongly and clearly that you should seriously, for your own health, safety, and future, consider the difficult but absolutely necessary and courageous choice to leave that dynamic for your own well-being and future healing. This is not just good information about recognizing relationship problems or general difficult dynamics that can be overcome with mutual effort. This is the most good, most fundamental, most important, most clarifying, most necessary, and most impactful information you can possibly get when you are struggling in a painful, confusing, or toxic relationship and desperately questioning whether to stay and keep trying against the odds and at immense personal cost, or to choose yourself and step onto a path towards healing, health, and authentic connection. It's the clarity that cuts through confusion, emotional pain, self-doubt, societal pressure to endure, fear of the unknown, and hope-based rationalizations that things will magically get better without change, with observable, undeniable, consistent realities and patterns you can see and verify if you choose to look honestly and bravely. It empowers you with the hard but essential truth needed to make a courageous, self-respecting, life-affirming choice that genuinely prioritizes your health, your safety, your healing, and your future capacity for a genuinely healthy, respectful, and fulfilling relationship. It's an essential map for recognizing the dangerous, damaging red flags that go far beyond normal relationship struggles and point definitively to a dynamic of fundamental chronic harm that you absolutely deserve and have the right to be free from to live your own life fully and authentically. And that kind of insight, that practical, profound, tough, but compassionate wisdom that gets right to the heart of recognizing and navigating unhealthy relationship patterns, that challenges limiting beliefs about enduring suffering in the name of loyalty, that confronts the fear of the unknown and empowers you to prioritize your well-being, understand when staying is causing chronic harm, and find the immense courage needed to make difficult but necessary choices for your health and future happiness. That valuable, potentially life-saving perspective. That most good info you are right here for, the reason you're watching, the reason you might be questioning a painful, draining, or toxic relationship and desperately seeking clarity, understanding, validation, permission, and a path forward to peace and health. Well, you need to make absolutely certain you don't miss any of what's coming next. Because trust me, we are just getting started unlocking the secrets to living a truly rich, meaningful, resilient, and fulfilling life, a life of peace and authentic connection, and understanding when and how to recognize, navigate, and choose to leave potentially unhealthy or toxic relationships to prioritize your own well-being is a massive, essential, foundational, often life-saving piece of that puzzle. The next piece of the puzzle, the next truth bomb, might be exactly what you need to hear, exactly when you need to hear it most, the key to your next breakthrough in self-respect, healing, self-worth, and courageous action. So, if you got genuine value from this video, if these indicators of an unhealthy relationship resonated deeply with you, if they gave you a powerful, new, clearer way to think about recognizing harmful relationship patterns and identifying the signs that point towards leaving for your well-being, if it offered you clarity, validation, and the first glimmer of courage to face a difficult situation head-on, if it gave you permission to consider choosing yourself and your well-being, you know exactly what to do right now to lock in this crucial understanding, to gain strength, to access the support you absolutely need on this difficult journey, to ensure you keep getting the most good info that can transform your life. Commit to yourself right now on the evidence of these patterns, to honestly and compassionately reflecting on the dynamics in your relationship based on these indicators. If you recognize these patterns consistently, prioritize your physical and emotional safety above all else. If you are in a relationship with any form of abuse, physical, emotional, psychological, financial, sexual, please reach out for support immediately to a domestic violence hotline or trusted professional resources. Resources are often in the description below. Talk about these indicators, your observations and your feelings, your fears, your hopes for the future with a trusted friend, family member, therapist, counselor, or support group. Seeking help and support from safe sources is an incredible sign of strength and self-preservation, not weakness. And you absolutely do not have this courageous journey to building healthy lives and relationships where you are genuinely seen, valued, and respected. This is your one precious life and well-being. You have the power and the right to choose its path and fiercely protect its health and peace. Choose you. Choose healing. Choose peace. Especially and crucially when a dynamic is causing you harm. You are worthy of health.